Hey Pascal, this is Panther Nation. I'm Connor Hibbett.
And I'm Gage Laswell.
And, Pascal football is still looking for their first win, and it'd be awesome if we could get it against Arlington tomorrow night, the 26th, because we're doing this on the 25th. Against Arlington, who's 3-1 in district, they're currently third in district, 6-1 overall. And with that good of a record showing, they've actually given up 114 points and only scored 127. They're only 13 points of advantage over their opponents. But with a 6-1 record, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
I don't think I have seen it either.
Volleyball made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes. They won last night, 3 sets to none. They won 25-15, 25-15, and 25-18. So pretty much the same scores, but great for volleyball. They keep on moving on, and they made it to playoffs. All right.
Yeah.
Good for them. They finished 8-6 in district, finished 4th in district, 26-14 overall. So great job, but the season is not over. We keep on rolling. We keep on rolling. Another team I hope that keeps on rolling are the Houston Astros. They lost last night 3-1. I remember watching that game, and then I wasn't that interested in it, so I turned it off when it was 1-1 in the 6th inning. But the Dodgers are favored by 1.5 runs in this game. But it's tonight at 7:09 p.m. Central on Fox, so that's our time, Central. So you can, if you want to watch it, you can. I'm not saying you have to, but it should be really fun. Who do you think will win the game?
You mean game 2? Or
Game 2. Yeah, game 2.
Or the whole series. I think the Astros might come back in this one.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I hope the Astros win it. They've never won a World Series before, so
they came close, but
they came close, yeah.
They always come close, but they're
53-28 away, so
they never find that year.
Yeah, they've come close.
And this year, I hope it's I hope it's their year. I hope it's their year.
Yeah, and I have a friend who's a really big Astros fan, so and you know him too, so yeah. I know he'd be really happy with this win because his college football team is not doing too well right now. What do you got for us for NBA, Gage?
Well, the
Dallas Mavericks have not won yet. They're 0-4.
Yeah, no. But I still support them. I mean, they're our team. But as you look at the top 3, we have
in the Western Conference.
In the Western Conference, we have the LA Clippers, which, to be honest, I'm pretty sure they deserve to be up there. Memphis Grizzlies, San Antonio Spurs.
Not surprised, San Antonio.
The Portland Trailblazers.
4th, yeah, and then Houston Rockets are 5th.
And the Houston Rockets.
And Golden State is at 7th, so.
I don't know.
They've won 2 in a row, so.
Yeah. Hey, 2 lost. Their record right now may change, obviously, because they're a very talented team.
One of the more talented teams in NBA history.
And as we look at the Eastern Conference, we have the Washington Wizards, surprisingly, undefeated 3-0. Cleveland Cavaliers behind them in 2nd with a record of 3-1. The Orlando Magic, now I'm surprised about the Orlando Magic right here.
What's their name? The Magic?
The Magic.
They're showing Magic, huh?
They're currently 3rd with a record of 3-0. They're 2-0 at home, which I'm very surprised because
undefeated 2-0.
They're usually a team that's close to the middle or the bottom. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and then the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously, they have a really good their star small forward, Giannis. I can't say his last name because it's very, very confusing. And then we had the Toronto Raptors, then Miami Heat, the Indiana, then Brooklyn, then Boston behind them, Detroit, yes, Charlotte, Philadelphia, the Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls. I'm surprised about the Chicago Bulls. I think
winless.
Yeah, winless right now.
And so the Knicks.
But that may likely change.
And then the Knicks in last place.
Now,
so we only have 3 current teams in the NBA that are winless, and one of course,
the Dallas Mavericks
is the Dallas Mavericks,
which I think they have the worst record in the NBA.
Yeah, 0-4, and then the other 2 teams that we
Mm-hmm.
talked about that are winless are 0-3. But
yeah,
so
that's all for the NBA.
We'll keep you posted for NBA throughout the season, and then as college basketball approaches, we'll keep you updated with that. That's really fun too. And then as we're not going to do NFL this week because we had a busy week this week, and we'll get you back to NFL next week, so we'll have a little bit more to talk about next week. How about the 10 pick'em games this week? I'm going to hit TCU and Iowa State last, okay? Okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I'm saving the best for last, right?
You know
All right.
me too well, buddy.
Yeah. All right, so we'll start off with probably what you guys probably would consider the least interesting game for you guys. Florida Atlantic at Western Kentucky. This Western Kentucky's team is 5-2 and 3-1 in their conference, but I got FAU winning this game. The Western Kentucky, they haven't impressed me. Their wins are against UTEP by 1 point, who are 0-7 overall. Charlotte, who is 1-7 overall. Dominion, who is 2-5 overall. Those are their 3 wins in conference and in the USA conference. So, I'm just not impressed with that. 3 wins in a row for the Florida Atlantic Owls. Close game though. I'm predicting a close game. I think it's going to be something like 38-35 since they're going to be at Western Kentucky. Gage, guess who Florida Atlantic's head coach is?
Who?
Lane Kiffin.
No idea who that is. I'm sorry.
Alabama offensive coordinator last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's
That's what they call last chance you.
As soon as you bring up Alabama, I'm just like, oh yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah. Alabama. Oh, Alabama. Alabama. Yeah, we all know who that is, don't we? Yeah.
Alabama.
I think they're the better team in this game. Florida Atlantic, I think they're the better team in this game. 38-35, I think they're the better team overall. But I think it will be a close game. I think Western Kentucky will want to win in this game really bad since they're playing at home. But Florida Atlantic is actually number 6 in turnover margin in the nation. I look for that to take over in this game. I think they force a couple of turnovers, and I think that isolates them for the win. I think that will do it for them. I think that will do the job, and I think they move on. This past game against North Texas for Florida Atlantic just had a record-setting performance of 804 yards. 804 yards. I'd like to know if LSU's gotten that in 3 games this year.
Was that an offense or defense?
Offense, yeah. 804 yards on offense. And scored on the first 11 drives. So they must have put in some second-string and third-string players as the game went along. But, 804 yards, my goodness. Some teams will not get that many yards in 3 games. And a team like that who won't get that many yards in 3 games is UTEP, which is a team that Western Kentucky beat at UTEP by 1 point. 1 point.
Wow.
Only 1 point. So I don't think this Western Kentucky team is that good. You have a UTEP team who's barely averaging 250 yards a game, and so that's why I don't think when you look at this matchup that you'd probably think, oh, Western Kentucky, they're 5-2, and Florida Atlantic's 4-3. You're like, oh, Western Kentucky, they're at home too? Oh, yeah, they're going to win, right? Well, it may happen, but I think Florida Atlantic's the better team. They're favored by 7 in this game, and I think it will be a one-possession game. But, again, Florida Atlantic comes away with the win. Oklahoma State, how about that game with Texas? I went to that game, Gage. Did you watch that game?
No, but I'm pretty sure, did Oklahoma State win?
They won 13-10, yeah. In overtime. Yeah.
In overtime.
Yeah, that was a really good performance, especially by the Texas defense, and they've been really good all year long. And Texas, man, they've had some close games that they just have not been able to pull out against really good teams, too. I mean, arguably the 3 teams they've lost to in close games this year have been all top 10 teams. Now, USC's not, but I think Oklahoma State and Oklahoma are both top 10 teams. In fact, both of those schools ranked number 1 and number 2 in total offense. So, I mean, in the Big 12, that's going to bode pretty well. I think Oklahoma State at West Virginia this weekend. I think this is going to be a good basketball game because it's going to be high. It's going to be really high scoring. And I'm not kidding when I say this. You're looking at a 59-45 game, and I think Oklahoma State prevails. I mean, this West Virginia defense is allowing about 400 yards per game. 400 yards per game. They're allowing that per game. That's insane. They're allowing 460 yards per game. That's insane. And Oklahoma State is averaging 584 yards per game, and they're only giving up 360 yards per game just about. So Oklahoma State's defense isn't the best, but let me say something. West Virginia's defense is much worse. So I think Oklahoma State defense gets a couple more stops, and I think that will get them the win in a high-scoring game. And I think Oklahoma State might start off really slow because coming off a tough win at Texas, that's a real tough game. And, when you have a tough game the week before, it's really hard to come back and play real tough to begin with. So,
Yeah.
Gage, what is your thinking of this game?
I mean, no questions asked. I obviously think that Oklahoma State is going to win. They're clearly the better team.
They are
They're, to be honest, Oklahoma State seems more balanced.
Yeah, they do.
On both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma State on this one.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And, of course, the big game this week, and it's where College Game Day will be held in Columbus, Ohio. Penn State versus Ohio State. This will be really something. This Penn State team they're really good on offense and defense.
It's a top 10 matchup right here.
It's a top 10 matchup, that's correct. This Ohio State team has had 5 straight wins, but their wins have been against Army, who's 6-2, UNLV, who's 2-5, and Rutgers, Maryland, and Nebraska, who are all 3-4. So again, you look at those wins, it's like, well, really, how good are those wins? Well, I'm glad you're questioning it because those are not very good wins. Now, they won them impressively, and that's the most important thing is they got the job done, and they won it like they were supposed to. J.T. Barrett has thrown 21 touchdowns and only 1 interception in that stretch. Gage, what is your opinion when a quarterback does really good against bad competition?
I mean, honestly, you know that he's good.
Yeah.
You know that he's going to show.
Yeah, in those type of games.
Yeah, in those type of games. But honestly, coming off those wins against decent teams, that doesn't really show them that they can contest for
like a Big Ten champion exactly. Or the top 4, much less. You're right. This Penn State team, like I said, they're really good on offense and defense, but they rank in the top 20 in both offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency.
I know someone who just so happened might win the Heisman this year.
Oh, Saquon Barkley?
Saquon Barkley.
Say who? Saquon. Saquon Barkley is something. In fact, Urban Meyer said he's one of the better players that he's ever seen in his coaching career.
Yeah, and I saw a special off of him. He's not the biggest player in college football, but he can maneuver, he can break tackles, he can mess another defense up. Let me tell you that.
And Penn State will try to create one-on-one matchups on the outside, and maybe when he's in the slot, and they got a good matchup against the Michigan player for that long touchdown pass that he almost dropped and bobbled and caught for the touchdown. I thought that was a great play.
Without a doubt. I'm guaranteed that he is going to be a first-round pick in the NFL.
Probably, yeah. Without a doubt. He's really a special athlete.
He is.
I mean, most most players, when they win the Heisman, it's like, okay, well, they were a great college player, but what can they do in the pros,
Yeah.
I wonder about that with Lamar Jackson. I think he's a great college player. He's a great athlete, but I don't know if he's a pro player.
Yeah.
I think Saquon Barkley is a pro player, though. I bet NFL coaches and recruiters are foaming at the mouth to have this guy. He's really special. Once in a generation player. Yeah, he's real fast too. Yeah, you don't want to have to cover him one-on-one. He's real hard to bring down. He's real hard to stay with, much less.
Like Alabama.
Like Alabama as a team.
Trying to take them down.
Yeah.
Trying to take them down out of the number 1 spot.
Yeah. This Penn State, Ohio State, they're playing at Ohio State. Remember what happened last year? Penn State pulled off the upset in Penn State, and that was the whiteout game. I think this Ohio State team will be playing with lots of revenge. They're going to be playing on revenge. They're going to want to really win this game. But I think Penn State's the better team overall. Close game. Penn State wins. 27-24, I can see Penn State getting a field goal with no time left or with barely any time left.
No, to be honest, Penn State's probably the most dominant team in this game, or should I say the dominant team in the game.
You think they're more dominant than Alabama right now?
Yes. Because because Alabama is Alabama, but if you look at Penn State, they're currently number 2 in the nation. They're really good on offense and defense. I say Penn State has a chance of potentially knocking Alabama out of the number 1 spot and replacing them and having Penn State as number 1. That's my opinion on this one.
Alabama has an off week before they play LSU. Depending on what happens with Penn State in this game. If Penn State wins this game impressively, you might see them jump to number 1. But, I agree with you, Gage. They have seemed like the most dominant all-around team in college football. Alabama's Alabama. We can say excuses all we want. But the fact is that they haven't been playing against great teams so far this year. They played against 2 decent teams with Texas A&M and Florida State. We saw the result with Florida State, and we also saw the result with A&M. A&M gave them a great run for their money. Yeah, they were down by 2 touchdowns and then scored at the very end just to make it a 1-possession game. But A&M, even at 2 touchdowns, even if you just think that, hey, Alabama only won by 2 touchdowns, Alabama and Penn State are the most dominant teams in college football. And then Georgia's not too far behind. Then you have TCU, who's right there. I don't think Wisconsin's that good. I don't know about Ohio State yet. I don't know about Clemson. Miami's won a lot of close games. I think Notre Dame is the next team.
You think Notre Dame?
I think Notre Dame is.
I agree
think
with
Notre
you on
Dame's
this
the
one.
next
Coming off that blowout against USC.
I didn't think the game would be close, but I didn't think it'd be that.
Knocking him down 10 spots
oh my gosh,
knocking USC down into number 21.
And then knocking in Iowa State, who TCU has to play. So again, Penn State wins 27-24. A late field goal prevails. They prevail, and they remain undefeated. They remain 8-0 for the season. So I will head into the TCU game. I didn't save it for last. I couldn't wait. TCU at Iowa State. I told you earlier, Gage, you guys have a tough 4-game stretch coming up. It worries me. I don't know how good the competition you played so far is. Yeah, you won at Oklahoma State. Really impressive. But besides that win, you haven't really played anyone that good yet. I mean, we could all say that K-State's a sound team every single year. They always finish 8-4, 7-5. They're always winning. And, they always come out with those close wins. They always play smart, and that's true. But they're not that great of a team this year, to be honest. And I think Oklahoma was looking ahead of K-State. I think Oklahoma was already focused on the next upcoming games, which is why the game was close. And against K-State, that's going to cost you because they're still a smart team. They're just not the greatest team. I do worry about TCU in this game. Iowa State coming off a great win at Texas Tech. But, Gage, I know you know a lot about TCU football. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Well, it's going to be a really good game. I'm personally not. I can't watch it because I have something to do that day. But I think TCU is going to win this one. To be honest, they're more of a balanced team. I'm not saying that Iowa State's a balanced, not a very good balanced team. They are coming off a win against Texas Tech, pulling off the upset at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Iowa State's going to fall short on this one. I'm going to have to go with TCU on this one.
Real smart. Well, what do you think the score might be?
It's going to be a close game.
Close game, yeah.
But I think TCU will lead. TCU will win by 2 possessions.
Okay, so 38-24?
Kind of around there.
Okay.
But I have to get some gratitude towards Garrett Patterson. This is currently their second or third undefeated season.
Well, second, yeah, because the last time they were undefeated was 2010. They finished number 2 that year behind Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn won the national championship.
They did beat Clemson that year. Was that yes?
They beat Wisconsin.
But
anyways, to go back to this year, I think this TCU team is balanced on both sides of the ball. They currently rank number 3 in rush defense in the nation, but I'm not going to say they're going to get upset, but it's coming if it's not this game. I don't see TCU going undefeated this year. I still see them going 9-3 or 10-2. It's either going to be at Iowa State, which is a trap game, or at home versus Texas. It depends on how you win at Iowa State. If you win that game
how about Oklahoma? Do you think
that could be a tough game too? It just depends week by week what happens. But I think this Iowa State team could pull off the upset. I would have this game at 1 or 2 points for either team, but I'm going to pick Iowa State in this game, not because I want TCU to lose, simply because I just think they're the better team in this scenario. I think TCU's upcoming schedule promotes a lot of trouble. I think that Iowa State pulls off the upset. I think Iowa State wins 34-31.
Oh, so it's going to be a very close game.
Very close. Yeah, and I think TCU might win this game. I think they probably will win this game. But
Yeah.
I'm just picking Iowa State because I can just see the upset, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost as if TCU's record's too good to be true right now. That's why I'm saying that.
I can kind of see that too, but TCU, Gary Patterson in general, he prepares his team very well.
He does.
I mean, obviously, last Saturday, we knew that it was going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm pretty
You
sure
guys scored more points than they put up yards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure TCU didn't look onto this game very much, but next game
Iowa State, yeah.
Saturday, pretty sure Gary Patterson is going to prepare the TCU team going into Ohio State
Iowa State, yeah.
and beating them.
Yeah. This Iowa State team, they're very dangerous. Their 2 losses this year have come in overtime to Iowa in Iowa State. They should have won that game. And then against Texas, who's really a good team. They don't have enough offense to pull out those close games.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see TCU winning this game, but I can guarantee you for sure this will be a close game.
Mm-hmm.
If TCU wins by more than a touchdown, then you're maybe looking at an undefeated season or 11-1.
Well, I know, like I agree with you. Iowa State could give TCU a run for their money.
And so could Texas. In fact, Texas will.
Texas, yeah.
But you know what? If TCU wins this game, Gary Patterson's currently undefeated at home and ranked in the top 10 in his career at TCU. And that says something going into the Texas game if they're undefeated, because now it's like, well, that record does show, 19-0. It's like, well, yeah, that's pretty darn good, and that is good. Texas is one of those teams that can lose to anybody and beat anybody, and we've seen that this year. They're
Exactly like what
the
Texas
perfect
Tech is
example. Yeah, really, Texas Tech's like that. LSU's like that too. LSU's lost to Troy and then beat Auburn. Is this thing on? Was that working? No, live. No, what happened to college football this year? This is like another 2007 year when you have a 2-loss champion. I could so see that. Oh my gosh! But anyways, I got Iowa State winning 34-31 against TCU. Close game. Now a game that won't be close at all. Georgia, Florida, like the band. Georgia, Florida. That's just going to be some. About the only good sound you hear from Florida fans is maybe them dancing if they might put up a field goal, or maybe dancing to the band music, because their band's pretty good. Georgia 31, Florida 10. I think the game might start out a little bit slow in the first quarter. Florida's defense is still okay, but Georgia prevails 31-10. What else do I have to say? It's in Jacksonville. It's played on CBS. If you want to watch a blowout, go ahead and watch this game. What's funny is that last week when Alabama played Tennessee, that game was on CBS. That was the only pick'em game this year that was on CBS. Only game on CBS that was not a pick'em game.
Really?
Last week with Alabama, Tennessee. That tells you how bad Tennessee is, because that game was not even going to be close, and it wasn't. And everyone would have picked Alabama except for maybe a few Tennessee fans that are like, "Hey, we're still Tennessee. We can still pull off the upset." And so that's how bad Tennessee is.
It seems like the entire SEC,
is getting worse.
Can lose to anyone, but can beat anyone.
Yeah, that's the SEC. But they're still one of the better conferences in college football. But
except Alabama, who just always wins.
Yeah, Alabama always wins. But when we talk about college football, Alabama's like, over here. When we talk about college football, we're not talking about Alabama. Now, Alabama's Alabama. They're just a total elite team. They're elite every single season. Georgia wins 31-10. And I went over Iowa State, but I think that TCU-Iowa State game will be a great game. I suggest y'all watch it. It's going to be on at 2:30 on either the ESPN channel, the ESPN channel, or on ABC. So catch the game if you can. I think it's going to be a great game. Speaking of a great game, I really think NC State will give Notre Dame a good game. This is another pick'em game. NC State is top 10 in the nation against the run.
Mm-hmm.
They're only allowing about 90 yards per game, and that's Notre Dame's strength on the offensive end. I think NC State will do a decent job containing Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's at home. Notre Dame prevails. I say they win in a close game, 28-21. I say Notre Dame contains a lead the whole game, but NC State keeps it close. This game will be closer than the USC game. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I think NC State's a much better team than USC. I will get also into USC.
Just completely overrated.
Overrated like they were 5 years ago when they were ranked number 2 to start the season, and they went 7-5 that year and lost to Georgia Tech 21-7 in their bowl game that year. But keep in mind that Notre Dame offense, which averages about 474 yards per game, they 317 of that is from rushing, and only 157 yards passing of those yards. So I think that will put a little bit of a problem for Notre Dame in this game. But I think Notre Dame still prevails. I think they're the better defense in this game too. The NC State defense, our secondary is very questionable. They're allowing about 287 yards per game through the air, and I think Notre Dame will find some open receivers throughout the game. But the defense for NC State, the front seven especially, which had 6 of their 7 guys returning, I think they'll keep them in the game. But this will be a smash-mouth game. Again, Notre Dame prevails in a close game. Gage, what do you think will be the result in this game?
Oh, I have to agree with you on this one. I think Notre Dame is gonna win this one, but I believe that Notre Dame will win by a lot more than what
I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think will be the outcome?
It'll be a close game, I can tell you that. But I'm gonna have to go with 28-17.
Okay, 2017. Okay.
Because coming off that very emotional win against USC.
Yeah.
That bitter rivalry.
Boy, and they are high on confidence right now.
They are very high in confidence.
Man.
But
They can't look forward. They got to win this. They got to play every single game and take a game at a time.
But I don't think that Notre Dame will be very, I would say,
prolific.
kind of. But I'd say coming into this game, I think Notre Dame will be not as confident.
Oh.
Well, I mean, yes, but let's see, what am I trying to say?
Do you think they won't be as focused?
Well, no, I think they will be focused. Coming off that.
Okay, so
win.
you're just thinking they won't be as successful?
So what I'm trying to say is that coming off this win against Notre Dame,
Yeah. Or against USC, right?
I think that confidence will not get the best of them. I'd say that they're gonna prepare for this game, and I think it's gonna show on the field.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, so they're going to keep their focus in this game, and
yeah.
it's going to prevail. Notre Dame gets the win. I say 28-21. Gage says 28-17. So very similar scores. Ryan Finley, the quarterback for NC State, hasn't thrown an interception in his last 313 attempts dating back to last year, longest streak in the nation. And Notre Dame usually forces a few turnovers a game. They're currently top 5 actually in turnover margin. So that could be the case in this game. They're actually number 2 in the nation in turnover margin. USF is number 1, and then UCF is number 3. So stay with me there. But Michigan, that's what I have to say. I think Notre Dame prevails in this game. They might force a fumble, but they might even force an interception. I could totally see it. I really see it coming. Michigan State at Northwestern. This will be an interesting game. Michigan State's currently ranked 16th. Next week they play Penn State at home, and then they're off to Ohio State. This game, it has upset written all over it, considering their upcoming schedule and that they may be looking ahead. But as we've seen in earlier games this year, when a team wants revenge, they get their revenge and they win. Mm-hmm. But that's if they're playing at home. Mm-hmm. Not if they're playing on the road. It's not necessarily one of those games that's you can just tip your cap and say, yeah, they're gonna win this game. Go that team, whatever they may be. But Michigan State, they're really good on defense, but I don't think this game will be or get out of hand. I actually think it will be real close. I would consider this a coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
But this is definitely a trap game. Northwestern has everything in front of them. They have this game at home, then at Nebraska, then at home versus Purdue, and Minnesota, and Minnesota at home as well, and then at Illinois last game of the season. I think this is going to be a tough, low-scoring game, but I could totally see Michigan State winning this game 17-14. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens. But that's my prediction. I think they win with the last-second field goal. Gage, what do you think?
Wait, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Michigan State.
Michigan State?
Yeah.
I think Michigan State will come into Northwestern very, very confident because Northwestern is not really that good. But I have to go with Michigan State on this one. As what Connor said, they're
The better team.
obviously the better team.
Yeah, I think Michigan State's going to want revenge, but because it's on the road, it's going to be in a closer game than it would be if they were playing at Michigan State. So yeah, 17-14. How about another game that won't be close? Two other games that won't be close, and then that will be our show for this week. I hope you all enjoyed the episode once again. Houston at USF. USF, of course, number 1 in turnover margin. Their quarterback's a dark horse contender for the Heisman. I could totally see this team going 11-1 or 12-0. Houston blew their game last Thursday night against Memphis, had a big lead. I don't see Houston coming off with the upset here. I say USF prevails 38-17.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I say USF gets the win there. There's really not much to talk about there. Georgia Tech at Clemson. Georgia Tech is really good on the ground game, number 1 in the nation. But last year, Clemson only gave up 124 yards to this team in Georgia Tech. Only 96 yards rushing, which was a low for them all season. The Clemson front 7 is very fast and skilled with Christian Wilkins and Dexter Lawrence leading the way. And I think this Clemson front 7 will get the job done for them in this game, and I think Clemson wins. I think Clemson wins 31 or 35 to 14 or 17 or something like that. So I think Clemson prevails. So there's not really much to talk about there either. Although Clemson did get upset, I think they're going to bounce back with a great win at home because next week they're at NC State. I will keep you posted with that one next week. That will probably be the game you have to predict the score for. The game you have to predict the score for this week is of course, Penn State at Ohio State. Penn State wins 27-24. That's my prediction for that. So once again, I will go over all the teams who I think will win this week, and that will be it. And we will say goodbye, and we will see you next week. USF wins at home against Houston. Clemson wins at home versus Georgia Tech. Florida Atlantic wins at Western Kentucky 38-35. Notre Dame wins at home versus NC State 28-21. Michigan State, in a tough game, roughly, they prevail 17-14 at Northwestern. Oklahoma State wins in a great basketball game. I mean high-scoring game when I say that. 59-45 at West Virginia. Oklahoma State prevails. Penn State at Ohio State. Of course, I already went over that. 27-24. Penn State, I think they're the better team. And then, of course, Georgia versus Florida. This game's usually close, not this year. Georgia wins 31-10. And the last one, Gage, this time I did save it for last. Iowa State wins 34-31. I think they get a defensive stand. I think they score with about 45 seconds left, and they get a defensive stand. Iowa State does. Iowa State prevails 34-31. I'm pulling for the Horned Frogs, but I think Iowa State's winning. So that's all we have to say this week. And for now, this is Panther Nation. I am Connor Hibbett.
I'm Gage Laswell.
And we will see y'all hopefully next Wednesday.